With the state of today's economy, it is more important than ever to invest in products that last for years to come. As the seasons shift and get cooler, make sure your closet is stocked with durable layers that stand the test of time from American Giant. American Giant's clothes work harder and are wearable season after season. Their greatest hoodie ever made is made of the highest quality materials that are cut and sewn right here in the United States. So you're investing right back into your local community. Choosing American Giant means taking a stand for American manufacturing and hardworking Americans, something other mega corporations don't care about. From fleece to knit, all in a range of colors for versatile daily wear, American Giant delivers everyday pieces designed for everyday life. Feel the difference of quality made-to-last clothes from American Giant. Get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20 at american-giant.com. That's 20% off your first order at american-giant.com with code STAPLE20.
In a so-called free state, officials and stakeholders concoct solutions to problems often created by other bureaucrats and with little regard for infringements on the people. These stories are born at the apex of freedom and entrepreneurship. We foolishly advocate for the taxpayer. Brian's Beat presents Freedom Fools.
He never gets the results, so he gives them to me. Good afternoon. Daylight. Different than nighttime. Welcome to Freedom Fools on WBSM. That voice in the background. Yes, Ken Pittman. You know, one of the greatest things about today, we had a snafu with the door. And so we've been sitting on other folks' shift today, and it's kind of fun. You guys are just going to walk out and leave now, huh? That's how it's going to be.
We didn't want to disturb you.
Oh, I see. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Good afternoon. How you doing today? Wow. I say wow because Halloween was harrowing, no pun intended. I did see a few trick-or-treaters, and it was on Crossroad in Dartmouth. The only spot that I saw anybody in costume was pitch dark out. But they were at this house not far away from the Potter School, but grown-ups and kids and a couple of homes were, lavishly decorated for Halloween, and people were going to those homes. Not far from Azalea Road, that particular area. But the problem was, if you're driving, the problem was you had cars parked on both sides of the street, and it made it very difficult. And it's, there are no street lights that I could see in that particular area to light up the way. There were a couple of people that had hand flashlights, but otherwise, it was very difficult. And, little kids, they're out trick-or-treating. They're trying to figure out what kind of candy they had, and they're talking. And I'm thinking somebody is going to make a mistake and walk into the street. So I'm at a creepy crawl. There are cars coming from the opposite direction doing the same thing because, hey, we want people to be safe and go out there and have a good time. And so it took a little bit longer to get through that stretch of road, and I'm talking a stretch of road that may have been 1 or 2 football field lengths, not that far. But it took, because you want to be careful, and it is so dark out, and many people walking in the streets and wherever there is sidewalk on the sidewalk, and I think in some of that area there wasn't any sidewalk, so I hope everybody had a very happy Halloween. It is November 1st, new month. And in my house, it's okay to start turning the heat on. We've made it, we can use the space heater, the little electric heater to heat up rooms, but we don't turn on the heat, or I don't turn on the heat, the gas, until the first of the month. And it was a little chilly when I got up today, so I fired that puppy up. and heated up the house to about a nice 70 degrees. Felt nice. Then I turned the heat off. In fact, on a day like today, it might stay 68 until 6:30, 7 o'clock. Then it might dip down. You might have to turn the heat on again, but I can take that. I can take that. Tomorrow brings an entirely different day. We'll get into that in just a second. On this date in 1765, the King of England introduced the colonies to something they had no idea about. The Stamp Act, to help pay for British military operations in North America. We know part of the story. I'm not going to get into all of it. But the story is the British troops had to come here because there were some colonists that were being unruly by England's standards anyway, unruly. And we needed to help pay for things that were going on in England and other nations because the British had fought a few wars. The French and Indians War, that would be one of them. And we had to help pay for a whole bunch of stuff. We did not like paying for it. The stamp and the tea and whatnot led to the Boston Tea Party. And then, of course, the shot that was heard around the world. Interesting to note, we are 7 months away, 8 months away from our 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, of which on this date, 1800, John Adams, yours truly's favorite U.S. president of all time, John Adams, became the first president to live in the Executive Mansion, later renamed the White House. I wonder what John Adams would be thinking of the redoing of the East Wing. Just wonder if maybe in all of his being right now, if he would have any type of say and what he might say to what's going on not only in the White House, but in the nation as a whole. What do you think, John Adams, President Adams, if he were to sit down and have a discussion with his 2025 counterpart? What do you think that conversation would go like? Donald Trump, John Adams. The first medical school for women, Boston Female Medical, opened on this date in 1848. The first Library of Congress building opened up 1897. Be interesting to hear what John Adams would think about the Library of Congress and some of the changes underway with the Smithsonian. 1955, the Vietnam War began, not so much for the United States, but for the Vietnamese. 1955, it officially ended with the Vietnamese, the North, victorious 20 years later. The Bryans-B quote of the day: I just think that we're capable of so much more. We don't utilize our capacity like we should. I just think that we're capable of so much more. We don't utilize all our capacity like we should. Hall of Fame running back Marcus Allen with that quote today. I mentioned earlier about trying to navigate on Cross Road last evening as I was leaving. I was fortunate. Nobody ran out into the street. If they did, I didn't see them, and they weren't in my direct path. Early this morning, a deadly crash on 140 South in New Bedford. A 2019 Honda Civic off the roadway in a wooded area, according to the state police. A 17-year-old male from West Yarmouth found ejected from the vehicle, pronounced dead at the scene. A 15-year-old female ejected from the car, transported, pronounced dead at the hospital. 17 and 15. This happened after midnight, according to state police, sometime around 2 o'clock in the morning. I got to ask. I was once told by an adult when I was young, nothing good ever happens after midnight. Now, I'm sure that there are some things that happen after midnight that are great. But is it silly for me to ask this question? A 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. The 17 and the 15-year-old, they're never going to see a high school graduation. Both of them ejected from a vehicle. How fast were they going? Who was driving? I don't know. According to News Center 5, 2 teens are dead, and an 18-year-old was rushed to the hospital following a car crash in New Bedford. The other occupant of the Honda, an 18-year-old man from Dartmouth, was transported to a local hospital with injuries not considered to be life-threatening. Be careful. You know, that there are times that we do put the pedal to the metal, and I have to give it to a woman friend. She always tells me, slow down. And we always think that we have control of the vehicle. And most of the time we do. But I have to admit, when I was 17, and certainly I wasn't driving at 15, why is a 15-year-old? I know it was Halloween, but Halloween ended at midnight. Where did you go for Halloween that you are in a vehicle sometime between 1 and 2 a.m., 1:40, and getting into a crash? You know, what's that story? And I don't know. The 18-year-old might be a family member. 17-year-old might be a family member. It could be something as simple as that. But I'm hard-pressed to believe it. What about you? 508-996-0500. That's how you get onto the show. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
You know, this brought me back way back. When my son was 16, he wanted to stay out like 1 o'clock in the morning. And my husband says, oh, no. You're not staying at 1 o'clock in the morning. Whatever you can do by 10, 11 o'clock, you can do before 1 o'clock in the morning. They said. Well, I wasn't born. I didn't pick to be born. And my husband says, you know, I didn't pick you out of a catalog either. So guess what?
Yeah.
But, he was so mad, so mad. It's awful. It's tough. You don't know what they're going to do. I mean, he could have been out somewhere and somebody hit him and died. So
I
that
hear you.
just brought me so back. He wanted to stay out at 1 o'clock in the morning, and my husband was, no. He said, well, I didn't ask to be born. And he says, well, I didn't pick you out of a catalog either. Okay, I'll let you go.
Good line.
I feel so bad for those two families.
Yes.
Very, very sad.
Yeah. Oh,
very, very
I don't
sad.
know if it's two families or not, but
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from when you say that. Yeah.
And she, like you said, no graduation and no weddings and a family. It's awful. It's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you
All right.
have a good day.
You too. Thank you
Bye-bye.
much. Yeah. No wedding. You're right. Wedding, graduation for the 15-year-old. No driver's license. Wow. Again, I'm willing to believe people are out having a good time for Halloween. But if you're 15 years old, do you really need to be out past midnight? I would venture, as I have to think back now. When I was 15 years old, I was a sophomore in high school. I think I had to be home by 11 o'clock. I remember I wanted to stretch it to midnight, and I don't think I was able to stretch it to midnight until I was a senior in high school. And I remember the first time I came home from college, I was 18 years old. And I didn't ask what time I needed to go back home, and my mom didn't say anything about what time I needed to come back home. And I know that I came back sometime around 1 o'clock in the morning. But I was 18 years old at that particular time. Let's hear from you. Hello.
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
How you doing, buddy?
Excellent. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Hey, that news that you shared is probably the worst news that could be shared at any time. Young people dying like that. I'm going to keep it real, though, Brian. I'm not a goody two-shoe, but I can tell you one thing. I am not a fast driver, and looking at accidents and things that happen like this, there's just a couple of components that come into place, and you can't get around them. Somebody either drove too fast or recklessly, and unfortunately, it'll take you out. I commute 120 miles a day. That's my commute. I see a lot of things on the road, and I have to drive slow. Other than that, I'd be getting tickets left and right, and it's not worth it, the stress of it all. So I tend to leave a little early and drive very safely. The people that will get on my tail while I'm doing the speed limit is unbelievable. I'll do the 65 or the 60, whatever, depending where I'm at. And they would get on my tail as if I'm not going fast enough because I'm not doing 5 or 10 over the speed limit. And it frustrates me and it stresses me out and it aggravates the hell out of me, to be honest with you, just because the disregard for what can happen, the consequences of going a little too fast. I don't know what to say. That's the problem. People drive recklessly all day long, and I know you said you drive fast. I'm assuming you're not a reckless driver, but let's face it, when you're moving in that vehicle and it's cruising at a speed of 65, 70, it's moving. And try to stop on a dime. It's not going to happen.
You can't, and you said 65, 70. If you're going 40 miles per hour, that's death right there.
Yeah, it's not going to stop because I'm calling you and talking about it, but I'm just sharing my frustration with people. People are just
I hear you.
so ignorant to what these vehicles can do. They're bullets. They're huge bullets on the road. That's what they are.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and you've made me decide to be a little bit more cautious. I'm saying that right now. I don't know how I'll feel a month from now, but you read stories like this, and one of the reasons I became a cab driver was to make sure a lot of my son's friends and their parents were my friends, to make sure that they would get home safely after going to a downtown bar or whatever, because there are a lot of knuckleheads out there. There really are.
Right. Well, if you slow down because of the conversation we had today, then I've succeeded.
Yeah, you and her, the woman before you. Seriously.
All right, buddy.
No, seriously.
Good.
It makes and women friends saying, well, how come it didn't work when I did it? Well, but anyway, it's important.
Brian, if I may, yes, and if I may finish with one comment. Driving down the streets in New Bedford, I tend to drive a little slower because these these ruts, these holes in the road, lack of a better way to put it, that's what they are. They will kill the front end of your car, and then the next thing you know, you're in the garage forking over $1,200, $1,500, $1,800. Pick the price. It's not cheap anymore. And that's another one. I'll drive down the streets of New Bedford, which I love to go to New Bedford, but I avoid it at all costs because people don't understand. These roads are bad. Take it easy on your vehicle. It's beating the hell out of your vehicle. And the faster you drive, the worse it is. People don't think that's true. It is. You know?
No, you're absolutely right. And I have to tell you, it's not only New Bedford roads, and you're correct that New Bedford roads are horrendous, but even Dartmouth streets are pretty damn bad, especially Route 6.
Yeah. Man. Hey, you have a great weekend, Brian.
You
Thank
too.
You.
Don't forget to turn your clock.
Oh, good reminder. Thank you.
All right. In fact, there is a reminder because we're going to have Dr. Karen Johnson, who is a sleep specialist. She's going to tell us why turning the clocks back might be all right now, but we shouldn't turn them ahead in the spring. 508-996-0500. If you did not hear the news, another frightful fatality on Route 140. And there have been quite a few, 140 and 24. In fact, when Ryan and Ken Pittman were talking to me in the studio, a few minutes before we started the show, we were talking just about this. And we were talking about going down Route 24 and trying to be safe because, when you go down 24, you're in Fall River, and 24 branches, you can go 195 heading east toward Dartmouth, or 195 going west and heading toward the Braga Bridge. Well, if you are heading back toward Dartmouth, you have to take the left ramp off, and when you get on to 195, you're in the left lane, and you might want to get over to the right lane because you want to get off at that first exit. And their cars just, they're going the speed limit, maybe a little bit more on 195, but they're already in the left lane. They're in the passing lane, and they're looking to pass. And here you are, or me are, coming onto the road, and I got to try to beat this other vehicle, because if I don't, the car behind me is going to just do a fender bender into me. It is one of the worst intersections out there. I don't know if it's ever been written up as one of the worst, but it impedes. It really does. I don't like that one. But there was an accident there not too long ago. And we've had numerous accidents on 140 and 195. And I don't know how many people know about these accidents. We try to tell them. We put them out in the news. Tim puts the stories up on WBSM.com. But I know not everybody reads WBSM.com. Not everybody listens to the WBSM news. But these stories are tragic. We go through driver's education. They make us watch these horrific films. They probably have them on CD now, but you have to sit there and watch these crashes and people all bloodied and, the gore, to remind us not to drive like absolute a-holes. And yet it goes into the memory bank. It stays stored in the subconscious, but unless you actually see something that makes that come back to memory, you pretty much forget about it, and you've got a lead foot and you're going south or north on 140, whatever the case may be, and there are some dark patches on 140. You know it, and I know it. Just, I know I'm being repetitive with this, but I think it's so important. You have to be careful out there. Look, I don't like speed limits, but they serve a purpose. And as I look at the age of the two decedents, 15 and 17, both found ejected from the vehicle. The 17-year-old, a male, pronounced dead at the scene, according to the Bristol County District Attorney. The 15-year-old female, she lived for a little while, but was transported to the hospital. I don't know if it was St. Luke's, but she was pronounced dead. And then there is the other occupant of the Honda from Dartmouth, transported to a local hospital. I don't know who the driver was. We don't know what happened. We just know it happened. So again, as the previous caller stated, if what he said to me makes me ease up on the accelerator, then he's done some good. Hopefully, by myself being repetitive, I might be helping you. 508-996-0500. Freedom Fools on WBSM.
We're coming to get our check.
This is WBSM.
Low-cost air helps you find the best airfares, foreign and domestic. Low-cost air, 800-221-6085. Low-cost air, 800-221-6085.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harris, owner of LifeSource Water. Your tap water isn't as clean as you think. City water is full of contaminants, including chlorine that cities use to treat it. At LifeSource, we believe your water should support your family's health. Our whole house system delivers filtered water from every tap, even your showers. For over 40 years, we've proudly built every system right here in the USA. Call our factory today at 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com.
Warranty limitations apply.
There's no better fool than the Freedom Fools. Now, back to Brian.
I mean, honestly, what is he even talking about? If he cared about public safety, then why'd he just cut $7 million for funding for law enforcement and public safety in Massachusetts alone?
Speaking of cuts, did anyone get their SNAP benefits today? I don't think they're supposed to be coming out. I know the governor has released, $4 million, but isn't that money basically for the food banks? So I know Ken Pittman talked to someone that is running a food bank earlier today, but I don't know if there are people lined up to receive this food. I don't know if anybody has gotten their food stamps. I really don't know what's gone on in that realm. I do know that the courts are giving the Trump administration until Monday to try to figure out exactly what they're going to do. And I'm not surprised at all if the Trump administration tries to appeal the ruling by two judges yesterday, one from Rhode Island and the other judge from Boston. Hello.
Hello, Brian. You mentioned in that tragic accident that the occupants were ejected from the vehicle. Is that another way of saying they weren't wearing their seatbelts?
Not necessarily.
Well, so you have to get ejected if
it sure is. In. It sure is, but it doesn't say anything about seatbelts here.
Okay.
That's why I'm not going to presume, but I think you're probably going down the correct road.
Yeah. Well, also for John Adams, I'm sure he would be a lot happier seeing in the ballroom in the White House rather than looking at a swimming pool or a bowling alley.
I wonder what he would think of bowling. Oh, I don't know. Or a basketball court.
Yeah, a swimming pool.
Well, the swimming pool, yeah, I think they could get into the swimming pool. Oh, good one.
Good show, Brian. Take care.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, in case you just tuned in, I know you can't hear every minute, nor do you really want to hear every minute of every show that I do. But on this date in 1800, John Adams became the first president to live in what we now call the White House. I wonder what Abigail thought. She rolls over and says, "Don't you dare, John, not tonight." John saying, "First night here, new bed." I don't know. But it must have been, he's the second president of what is the United States of America, not the United Colonies, but the United States. And this new building has been set up for him. And he moves in. That had to be something. It really had to be something to be selected president. Selected president by the Electoral College and the Congress. And then they say, here's where you're going to be living. Here's your office, too. Not bad. 508-996-0500. So the huge story of the week, which is the same story pretty much with some sidebars as the week prior, the federal government shutdown. We are now into November. Do you think that the federal government shutdown goes past Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving is what? Today, 27 days if you include today. 27 days. Do you think that the federal government shutdown is basically going to last through the month of November? Because if we're in it on the 27th, let's just do the math here. We're in it on the 27th. That's a Thursday, Thanksgiving. The 28th is the Friday. Do you think Congress is going to be going to Washington on either of those days? And then you've got Saturday. Yeah, you're right. They could be rushing back for an emergency session. I'm willing to believe they're going to take that whole Thanksgiving recess off. And the 30th is going to be on a Sunday. 29th on a Saturday. So all of a sudden, December 1st is a Monday. So December 1st is a month from now, a month from today. A month from today, which would be Monday, December 1. Do you believe that the federal government shutdown will still be going on? And I know I get a kick out of let's blame the Republicans, let's blame the Democrats. I don't know if they're somehow, some way still getting paid. We'd never know. Nobody would be telling us. An astute reporter might be able to find out something, but I'm willing to bet that they're not getting paid. At the same time, I'm not thinking that any of the 535 congresspeople and senators are going hungry right now. Food stamps mean nothing to them. Health care, it's taken care of. They get it fully paid, courtesy of the taxpayers. And they've got enough money set aside that they don't have to worry about not getting a paycheck this month or next month. So, they're puffing on cigars, drinking whiskey, wine, whatever the case may be. And there are people in New Bedford. I read the numbers the other night. In fact, I was given a call from a listener who had mentioned in an article that he read from New Bedford Light, Eleanor Bianchi was the author of the article, how half the households in New Bedford are on SNAP. Half the households. That's a little deceptive. I don't know the total number of households in New Bedford, but a household could be one person. It could be 6, 7, 8 people, depending on how many children, offspring, adopted, foster home, whatever the case may be. So when you hear half of the households, it's difficult for me to really ascertain how many people that is. However, the Department of Transitional Assistance, they have the information. I was not able to find out how many of a particular age are on food stamps, but I did find out that in the city of New Bedford, out of 101,000 plus people, according to the 2020 census, that there were this year, 34,763 New Bedford residents, young, old, in between, 34,763 residents that are on food stamps. So that's roughly 1/3 of the population. That's a significant number when you think about it. 1/3, so 1 out of every 3 residents in the city of New Bedford, they're on food stamps. I don't know how many of them are here legally. I don't know how many are youth. I don't know how many are elderly. I don't know how many are incapacitated that they can't work. I know that 1/3 of the population, give or take a few, is on SNAP. As we think about the election that is coming up on Tuesday, I have not heard one New Bedford city councilor say that they have some type of remedy to put a lot of people to work in the private sector, not the government sector, that might help to get some of these people off of SNAP/food stamps. That might be pretty nice. 508-996-0500. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
It is a nice afternoon, too.
Beautiful
I should be out walking.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Beautiful out.
Oh, yeah. Today and tomorrow is supposed to be nice, and then it's supposed to dip down in the 50s, I heard, during the day next week, and then 30s at night. Anyway.
It is November.
Yeah, anyway, that's the parents' worst nightmare. Oh,
the car
God,
crash?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was that headed towards the lights on Route 6? Is that the way they were coming?
So they were going 140 south. I'm not sure where they were on 140, except that they were in New Bedford.
Well, south is that way because north would be going towards Taunton.
Yes, correct.
So they were headed towards the lights on Route 6 where Buntwood Park is, probably.
They were heading in that direction. They could have been up by the business park. They could have been by Kings Highway. They could have been a lot of places.
I'm sure they were partying and drinking and maybe weed. Who knows?
Kind of young for drinking, but you could be hitting it right there in the head.
No, they're not young because I tried drinking when I was 15, I think.
But wasn't the drinking age 18 then?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You go, she was the girl, right? She's 15?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she went probably, they probably were partying because I know I tried drinking when I was 15. That's when you start experimenting usually when you're younger with stuff. You dibble-dabble when you're 15, 16. That's usually when people usually do it.
Or 13.
No, but that's a little bit young. I was
13 in high school, and I remember after the first game, we went to the barn, and that's where we had some drink.
Were there girls there?
There were girls there.
Yeah. See, so I tried it when I was I think I was about 15. I tried marijuana and I got paranoid. Well, of course, somebody always has it, and they're the ones who, well, for me anyway, they introduce you to it. But I wasn't all that crazy about the marijuana when I first tried it, and then because it was the thing to do, so then with my money from working, I would buy a $50 ounce of Colombian gold.
Wow!
Every week it was.
Every week.
Yeah, it wasn't like this stuff that they got now.
In its day, Colombian gold was the gold standard.
We used to share it. We used to share it with each other.
Yeah.
You'd say to your girlfriend, you'd say to your friends, "Oh, I got some Colombian gold." It was like a big thing to do, and then I got out of that. You know what I mean? But now that so many people are into it, when you see them standing in line to go to these places, it's unbelievable. I tried that and got out of it. I could care less.
But you got out of it at a young age.
I could care less about weed. Everybody's weed. They're all. I couldn't believe the ages, the variance in ages you see at these. What do they call them again?
Pot shops.
Yeah, what's the other name they use for them?
Cannabis?
No, another name they use for it. Come on. No, where you buy it.
Oh, well, the cannabis shop.
Yeah, but there's another name they use, too. I can't think of it. Oh, I'm getting mad about that. I can't remember it.
Maybe you need to take a little more. Maybe that will jar your memory.
No, listen, when I hang up, I'll remember it.
Of course.
There's dispensaries.
Yes. Oh, okay.
And there's several names for them now.
Well, they're privately owned, so they do have their own names.
Yeah, and the prices on them, on the stuff is out of sight, I heard.
And it's like going to the grocery store.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. But anyway,
they say it's a lot stronger than the pot that you and I used to have way back in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, yeah. And another thing is I've been listening on the radio. They say that the THC is no good for your brain. And it's no good. The smoke is no good for your heart. It's like smoking cigarettes, really. I'm glad.
It sounds like anything that we take for fun or even what we thought was nutritious turns out to be bad for us down the road. There's always something that's not good for us. Alcohol's not good for us.
No, more than one drink or two, the most. I'm glad I got out of that. But anyways, where were these two people from again? You said down the Cape?
No, the male who died, the 17-year-old, he was from West Yarmouth. And the female, I believe, doesn't say where she was from. And the other person who's alive is from Dartmouth.
Yeah, so it was a 2-car accident.
No, 1 car. Doesn't say anything about another car.
How come there's one person alive? They were in a different car?
No, I think they were all in the same car. One lived.
Oh, how old was the one that lived?
18. or is still alive, I should say. That is the one that's from Dartmouth.
Is it a male or a female?
Male.
Oh boy, she was wild. But anyway, I wouldn't go.
We don't know. We don't know.
I wouldn't go with two boys never.
You know, look, it's very difficult to tell. The 18 and 15-year-olds, they could have been related. The 15 and the 17-year-old, they may have been related. We don't know that information.
But you know what? The one that saw it all, that's still alive. Oh my God.
Yeah. What he must be thinking.
I don't like going fast anyway. I can't. I stay right away. Please, the speed limit's 65, and I take that ride and I say it right away. I'll speak right up because they watch them. You know, all that is taped and everything. They can't go over it, or they won't let them drive anymore.
I wonder if, you know, with all the technology that we have, if there is going to be some type of regulator on new cars that, you know, automatically knows what the speed limit is, and it will only let your car go as fast as the speed limit.
Yeah, but Brian, they say that these cars are a bullet, but you know what? They're made of cheap. They're made of plastic, so they go fast, and you don't have nothing around you.
You don't have anything to protect you.
Right.
Yeah, I hear you. No, you're absolutely correct. The Japanese introduced that way back when, you know.
I know it. Well, they need to slow down. Everybody's speeding. Everybody's going so fast. I just saw a couple of kids right on the street on a little motorcycle. I mean, they never allowed that years ago when my kid was little, just not 20 years ago. I mean, you couldn't do that. The cops would come. Now they're always calling BSM complaining about that, but they're all over the streets doing what they want. One cut right in front of the vehicle I was in the other day, and if she almost hit him, he changed his mind in a split second and decided to turn in front of her.
You know, I see kids on bikes every once in a while, you know, regular bikes, and they dart out. In fact, I was going down Kempton the other day, and I was making my way down toward the Octopus, and I forgot what street. May have been Jenny, it may have been Park Street, one of those streets, and somebody just on a bike went shooting by. Another kid on a bike, he stopped because he saw me, but this other kid, he could give to you-know-what, and he just darted right across, you know. I could have made a pancake out of him.
Oh, yeah. I hope that guy calls in that always calls in. What time is your... Oh, I don't know his name, but he says, hi, Brian. He's funny. I don't know his name, but I like him.
Okay.
Anyway, when's your guest coming on now?
No, my guest is coming on after the news.
Yeah, for 2 o'clock hour, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the call. 508-996-0500. Bottom line, just be careful because, again, we don't know all the details. I'm not sure that the state police or the Bristol County District Attorney's Office, I'm not sure that they have all of the details put together right now. They probably have a pretty good sketch. They do this kind of work all the time. But sometime between 1:30 and 2 this morning, so November 1, so after Halloween, I'm trying to emphasize after Halloween, there were 3 people in one vehicle, a 2019 Honda Civic. And the Civic went off 140 southbound. It was found in a wooded area, according to the state police. A 17-year-old, I'm getting this information from Channel 5 out of Boston, WCVB. A 17-year-old male from West Yarmouth, no name given, ejected from the vehicle, pronounced dead at the scene. A 15-year-old female, also ejected from the Honda, transported to a local hospital. She later died. A third person in the Honda an 18-year-old from Dartmouth, transported to a local hospital with injuries not considered to be life-threatening. What he knows about the crash, I don't know. Was he the driver? I don't know any of that information. We can only ascertain, you know how dark 140 can be, and they may have been going at a high rate of speed. None of that is mentioned. But as I said earlier, when I was a kid, I was told nothing good ever happens after midnight.
To change something, you must build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete.
WBSM.
The government may be shut down. Legitimate business funding remains open. See for yourself at legitimatebusinessfunders.com. Legitimatebusinessfunders.com.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-221-6085. 800-221-6085. 800-221-6085. That's 800-221-6085.
If you're shopping while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast, then you know and love the thrill of a deal. But are you getting the deal and cash back? Rakuten shoppers do. They get the brands they love, savings, and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Levi's, Plow and Hearth, Adidas, Sephora, and Neiman Marcus. Stack sales on top of cash back and feel what it's like to know you're maximizing the savings. And it's easy to use. And you get your cash back sent to you through PayPal or check. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Download the free Rakuten app or go to Rakuten.com to start saving today. It's the most rewarding way to shop. That's Rakuten. Rakuten.com.
Freedom Pools on WBSM. Here's more with Brian Thomas.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down.
Oh, I think somebody might want to practice what he is preaching. 56 in Somerset, 56 in Middleborough.
O'Reilly! Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.